Johnny Depp's return to the Hollywood spotlight has officially begun with a dramatic transformation that has fans around the world stunned. The first look from his much-anticipated comeback film, Day Drinker, was unveiled on April 15, 2025, and the buzz surrounding it has reached a fever pitch. Depp, who has remained relatively low-key in recent years following a storm of legal battles, media scrutiny, and a period of retreat from the mainstream spotlight, appears almost unrecognizable in this new role. His appearance marks a sharp departure from the swashbuckling charm of Captain Jack Sparrow or the eccentric charisma of Willy Wonka. In Day Drinker, Depp embodies a character steeped in grit, world-weariness, and a rugged realism that has fans and critics alike doing. A double take. With gaunt features, weathered skin, and a haunted expression, Depp's portrayal signals not only a new chapter in his acting repertoire, but also a potentially defining moment in his storied career. The first images from Day Drinker show Depp as a solitary middle-aged man cloaked in a weather-beaten coat, his eyes shadowed by deep-set wrinkles, and his once lustrous hair now a tangled mess of gray and ash-blonde strands. The transformation is so complete that even longtime fans have admitted they had to look twice before realizing it was, in fact, Johnny Depp. This is not the dashing heartthrob of the 1990s or the enigmatic anti-hero of the early 2000s. This is a character carved out of hardship, introspection, and perhaps even a reflection of the actor's own turbulent journey in recent years. The rawness of the look is intentional, crafted meticulously to depict a man whose life has been marred by pain, addiction, and isolation, central themes in the storyline of Day Drinker. Directed by Oscar-nominated filmmaker Lena Forsyth, Day Drinker is a psychological drama that delves into the complexities of a man battling inner demons while attempting to reconnect with a world he once abandoned. The character Depp portrays is a former jazz musician turned recluse whose descent into alcoholism and mental health struggles left him estranged from society. Set against the melancholy backdrop of a rain-soaked New Orleans, the film explores redemption, memory, and the fragile line between genius and madness. Forsyth, known for her deeply human and visually evocative storytelling, reportedly cast Depp not just for his acting prowess, but because of the emotional truth he could bring to such a tortured role. According to sources close to the production, the director encouraged Depp to channel his own personal pain and experiences into the performance, leading to an authenticity that is already resonating with audiences, even from just a still image. Fans. Reactions have been mixed, yet deeply passionate. On social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram, the conversation is ablaze with both praise and shock. Some viewers celebrated the actor's bravery in shedding vanity to embody such a raw character, calling the look mesmerizing and proof that true actors never shy away from ugliness in the name of art. Others expressed concern, wondering whether the appearance was a result of method acting gone too far, or whether Depp's physical transformation reflected a real-life decline in health. However, insiders confirmed that the look was crafted under the supervision of a professional makeup and prosthetics team, working closely with costume designers and cinematographers to create a cohesive visual narrative. It's all part of Depp's calculated return, not as a resurrected icon, but as a seasoned performer ready to explore darker and more mature material. In interviews promoting the teaser of Day Drinker, members of the production team praised Depp's commitment to the role. Co-star Naomi Watts, who plays a social worker attempting to help Depp's character find a path to healing, shared that working with him was intense and inspiring. She noted how Depp would stay in character between takes, often retreating to isolated corners of the set to maintain his psychological depth. There were moments, she said, where you could feel the pain radiating off him. It wasn't just acting. It was something deeper, almost like an exorcism. Director Lena Forsyth echoed similar sentiments, revealing that Depp's performance brought many members of the crew to tears during the film's climactic scenes. "He gave us everything he had. He bared his soul," she stated. This film is not about glamour or redemption arcs wrapped with a bow. It's about the ugly truth of being human. And Johnny got that. What makes Depp's comeback in Day Drinker so significant is the timing. Following his highly publicized legal battles with ex-wife Amber Heard, Depp found himself both embraced and alienated by different factions of the public. while many of his fans remained loyal, campaigning fiercely for his reinstatement in franchises like Fantastic Beasts and Pirates of the Caribbean. Others questioned the future of his career in an industry increasingly defined by public image and accountability. Depp's decision to retreat from blockbuster films and immerse himself in indie projects and music was both a response to the scrutiny and a reflection of his desire to reconnect with art on his own terms. His appearance in European films like Jeanne du Barry and his performances with the Hollywood Vampires Band allowed him to maintain a presence while recalibrating his creative compass. Now, with Day Drinker, Depp appears ready to reassert himself in Hollywood, not as the flamboyant icon of yesteryear, but as a serious actor capable of profound vulnerability and emotional depth. Industry insiders believe Day Drinker could mark the beginning of a new phase in Depp's career, one defined by gritty realism and stripped-down performances. With awards season still months away, early predictions suggest that if the film lives up to the emotional resonance of its promotional materials, Depp could be in contention for major accolades. The film is set for a limited theatrical release in the fall, with a broader rollout planned ahead of the Winter Awards circuit. Studio executives have described it as Depp's most powerful performance in decades, and there's a growing consensus that the role might redefine how he is perceived not only by fans but also by critics who had once written him off. As the cultural conversation around redemption, mental health, and authenticity in Hollywood evolves, Depp's new role might serve as a timely commentary on those very themes. Notably, Day Drinker also marks a significant collaboration between Depp and a new generation of filmmakers. Lena Forsyth represents the vanguard of Hollywood's emerging auteurs, filmmakers unafraid to tackle uncomfortable truths through art. By aligning himself with such voices, Depp is signaling a willingness to let go of old formulas and embrace projects with substance and soul. His partnership with Forsyth has been described as electric, with both artists pushing each other to explore creative boundaries. Their mutual respect is evident in behind-the-scenes footage where they are seen in deep discussions about character motivations, emotional beats, and visual storytelling. Forsyth has stated that she wrote the script with Depp in mind, believing only he could bring the necessary gravitas and fragility to the role. For Depp, the opportunity to work with someone unencumbered by the baggage of the past may have been exactly what he needed to stage a true renaissance. One cannot ignore the symbolism behind the film's title, Day Drinker. It evokes a sense of despair and dysfunction, but also a strange kind of freedom, a man who has given up on societal norms but still searches for meaning in the margins. The metaphor extends to Depp himself, a man who has spent years in the public eye, oscillating between adoration and condemnation. In many ways, he has become a cultural Rorschach test. People see in him what they want to see, whether it's the misunderstood artist, the troubled soul, or the reckless celebrity. Day Drinker offers him a canvas to paint his truth. However, uncomfortable or unflattering it may be, and the response to this truth, as suggested by the wave of reactions online, is overwhelmingly one of respect and curiosity. Despite the dark and heavy nature of the role, Depp has expressed a sense of personal catharsis through the character. In a rare public comment released through his agent, he said, "This project came to me at a time when I was searching for silence, for reflection. It gave me a mirror to look into, and while what I saw wasn't always easy, it was necessary." These words have only added to the mystique surrounding the film and its central figure. For fans, this is more than just a movie. It's a window into the psyche of a man they've followed for decades, through triumphs and controversies alike. Ultimately, Johnny Depp's unrecognizable look in Day Drinker is more than a physical transformation. It's a statement. It represents a deliberate shedding of past personas, an embrace of discomfort, and a leap of faith into uncharted artistic territory. It challenges audiences to see beyond surface appearances and confront the raw humanity beneath. Whether or not the film achieves commercial success, it has already succeeded in one critical regard. It has reminded the world of Johnny Depp's extraordinary ability to reinvent himself and move audiences in unexpected ways. As the film's release approaches, all eyes will be on Depp, not out of scandalous curiosity, but in anticipation of what may be one of the most profound performances of his career. This calculated transformation is not merely a superficial change, but rather a manifestation of Depp's dedication to evolving as an actor. Observers have noted that the intensity of his appearance in Day Drinker transcends makeup and costume. It embodies an emotional weight that speaks to years of personal upheaval and artistic yearning. The deep lines etched into his face, the heavy-lidded eyes, and the stooped posture all contribute to a portrayal that is hauntingly believable. It's as if Depp has erased all traces of glamour to immerse himself completely into the psyche of a man whose life has unraveled. There is a fragility in his stance, a hollowness in his gaze that cannot be fabricated without drawing from real emotional reservoirs. That willingness to become almost unrecognizably vulnerable on screen is what's capturing public attention and drawing comparisons to other iconic performances of deeply troubled characters in cinema history. The choice to set the film in New Orleans further intensifies the sense of melancholy and decay that surrounds Depp's character. The city, with its rich musical heritage and atmospheric streets steeped in mystery and soul, serves as both a backdrop and a metaphor for the character's internal chaos. Rain-slicked sidewalks, dimly lit bars, and smoky jazz clubs create a canvas for the narrative, enhancing the themes of lost glory and faded dreams. Depp, who has long admired the cultural depth of New Orleans and even once owned property there, was reportedly involved in some of the creative discussions around location and atmosphere. His familiarity with the city's mood and rhythm helped him sink deeper into the role, allowing the setting to inform his performance in subtle yet powerful ways. Behind the camera, Lena Forsyth was meticulous in shaping the visual tone of the film to match the emotional landscape of its protagonist. Working with cinematographer Giancarlo Reyes, she opted for a muted color palette, dominated by grays, browns, and faded blues, colors that mirror the protagonist's emotional numbness. This deliberate aesthetic choice underscores the sense of detachment and introspection that defines Depp's character. Each frame is designed to feel like a painting on the verge of peeling, much like the man at the center of the story. The camera lingers on silences, shadowy interiors, and half-finished drinks left sweating on wooden tables, emphasizing the slow erosion of a man's identity. The prosthetic team's role was also critical in shaping Depp's startling appearance. Headed by industry veteran Marla Dupree, the team spent hours each day applying facial prosthetics that added age, exhaustion, and neglect to his look. Sunken cheeks, subtle liver spots, and brittle hair were added with such precision that the transformation appeared utterly natural on screen. The process was grueling and required Depp's full cooperation, which he gave willingly. Sources from the set described how he often arrived hours before other cast members to begin the transformation process, never complaining, fully immersed in the artistry. According to Dupree, Depp was a dream to work with, disciplined, respectful of the craft, and committed to every detail. Her team even went as far as consulting real-life case studies of alcohol-induced aging to achieve authenticity. This level of realism carried over into Depp's performance style on set, rather than relying on rehearsals or blocking in the traditional sense. He often requested to do improvisational takes, allowing emotions to rise naturally from the scene. In one particularly harrowing moment, he reportedly broke down during a monologue about loss and failure, and the footage was so powerful that Forsyth decided to keep it in the final cut, even though it wasn't scripted. Fellow actors and crew members were left stunned by the rawness of the moment, many describing it as one of the most truthful things they'd ever witnessed on a set. This spontaneity, coupled with his deeply internalized portrayal, has helped create a performance that is being described as not just a comeback, but a redefinition of what Johnny Depp stands for as an actor. The character Depp plays is not just a man who drinks during the day, it is someone who has lost track of time entirely. His days bleed into nights, memories twist into hallucinations, and relationships become fragmented shadows. This descent into emotional and psychological isolation is portrayed with nuance, and Depp's ability to balance despair with fleeting glimpses of hope adds layers to the performance. One scene teased in the trailer shows him watching a young jazz trio through a cracked window, his eyes filled with longing, not for fame or success, but for a moment of connection. That subtlety, that aching quietness, is what's driving critics to pay attention. The public response has only added fuel to the film's momentum. Fan edits and side-by-side comparisons of Depp's former roles versus his current Day Drinker appearance are flooding social media. Many are calling it his McConaughey and Dallas Buyers Club Wax moment, a transformation so jarring and profound that it demands serious critical consideration. Film forums and Reddit threads are buzzing with analysis, some fans going as far as decoding symbolic elements of his wardrobe or speculating on parallels between the character's narrative and Depp's own life. Whether it's a case of art imitating life or life finding refuge in art, the consensus is that Depp has tapped into something deeply resonant. At a time when Hollywood often favors safe, franchise-driven performances, Depp's choice to take on such a stripped-down, emotionally risky role feels like a bold act of defiance. It's a reminder that acting, at its core, is about truth. By allowing himself to be seen not as a star but as a flawed, aging, emotionally naked man, Depp has challenged the industry's expectations and the public's perception of him. If Daydrinker succeeds both critically and commercially, it may not just resurrect his career, it may elevate it to a new, more respected tier altogether. Depp's deeply immersive approach to Daydrinker was more than just method acting, it was an emotional excavation. On set, his dedication was palpable, not only to fellow actors like Naomi Watts, but to everyone behind the scenes. Crew members reported a reverent hush whenever Depp was performing, especially during scenes that required emotional breakdowns or subtle shifts in mood. Lighting technicians and sound engineers adjusted their setups in near silence, aware that even the smallest disruption could break the delicate intensity of his performance. Watts, a seasoned actress herself, admitted that she often found herself affected not only by the character Depp portrayed, but by the raw energy he carried with him even when the cameras weren't rolling. There was a certain vulnerability in the way he spoke during the more emotional scenes, a hesitancy that seemed less like acting and more like lived experience bubbling to the surface. For her and many others involved in the film, the experience was unlike anything they had encountered in their careers. Forsyth, in interviews following the teaser's release, elaborated on the emotional demands of the project. She described how the climactic scenes, particularly one in which Depp's character confesses to a life-defining regret, left seasoned professionals in tears, not out of sadness alone, but out of a sense that they were witnessing something, unfiltered and honest. Forsyth explained that Depp didn't just perform grief, he relived it in front of the camera, drawing from parts of himself he had previously kept hidden. She emphasized how important it was for the film to be a safe space for such intense expression. "We didn't want to cut away from the truth, we lingered, we let it breathe," she said. The impact was so profound that even those not usually swayed by performances like grips, assistants, and security staff were reportedly moved, with some staying on set well after their shifts ended, just to watch the scenes unfold. The timing of Daydrinker could not be more pivotal. Depp has spent the last several years navigating not only the turbulent aftermath of his legal battles with Amber Heard, but also the broader implications of those events on his identity as both an artist and a public figure. In many ways, the film reflects this liminal phase of his life, an exploration of someone caught between the ruins of the past and the fragile hope of renewal. The themes of isolation, addiction, redemption, and psychological turmoil that run through the film mirror Depp's real-life experiences. It is this alignment between art and reality that makes his performance so compelling and so difficult to ignore. It's as though Depp has found in Daydrinker a means to process the pain and uncertainty that have plagued him for years, turning personal history into shared catharsis. His retreat into more personal, less commercial projects in recent years was clearly intentional. Films like Jean du Barry, though met with mixed critical reception, allowed him to test new waters and rebuild his confidence outside the Hollywood machinery. His collaborations with musicians in the Hollywood Vampires also offered him a reprieve from the glare of mainstream media and gave fans another side of him, more relaxed, more genuine. But those ventures, while valuable, always felt like an interlude. With Daydrinker, Depp is no longer resting or regrouping. He is re-engaging with the core of his craft, stepping into a role that demands complete emotional transparency and doing so under the watchful eyes of an industry that once questioned his future. The potential critical success of Daydrinker could also set a new precedent for how Hollywood views redemption stories. In an era where public opinion is often swift and unforgiving, Depp's careful, emotionally rich return could open up conversations about the complexities of recovery and the role of empathy in evaluating public figures. Already, the chatter around awards potential is building. Festival insiders who have seen early cuts of the film have hinted that Depp's performance is Oscar-worthy, with whispers of a possible Best Actor nomination growing louder. The production team is reportedly planning a full awards campaign, supported by behind-the-scenes footage, interviews, and a focus on the human elements that make the film resonate so strongly. It's not just about a comeback, it's about redefinition. If successful, Daydrinker could usher Johnny Depp into a new era of his career, one not built on eccentric characters or franchise fame, but on unflinching honesty, emotional depth, and a commitment to storytelling that reaches into the very marrow of human experience. What makes Daydrinker? Even more compelling is the convergence of personal and artistic reinvention that Johnny Depp appears to be pursuing with clear intent. This isn't just a case of a Hollywood star donning a transformative look for awards buzz. Rather, it feels like a genuine reckoning, an actor confronting the passage of time, the toll of fame, and the weight of lived experience. For decades, Depp has been synonymous with characters who live on the fringes, eccentric, misunderstood, otherworldly figures like Edward Scissorhands, Raoul Duke, and Captain Jack Sparrow. Yet, in Daydrinker, the man at the center of the story is not hidden behind fantasy or surrealism. He is raw, real, and frighteningly human, and that humanity, as stripped down and painful as it is precisely what makes this role so different. For once, Depp isn't playing someone escaping reality, he's playing someone crushed by it and still trying to claw his way back. The symbolism embedded within the film's title, Daydrinker, cannot be overstated. It encapsulates not only the downward spiral of the character, but also speaks to a broader cultural malaise, a quiet despair that often goes unnoticed in daylight hours. A daydrinker is someone who can no longer separate night from day, someone for whom time has blurred due to sorrow, addiction, or a loss of purpose. In this sense, the title becomes an existential thesis. It's a story of someone who has sunken so deeply into themselves that their only companion is the numbing blur of alcohol, but it is also a story of someone attempting to rediscover meaning amidst the ruins. That metaphor extends seamlessly to Depp himself, whose real-life struggles with substance abuse and highly publicized personal turmoil have been dissected endlessly in tabloids. Through this role, he seems to be taking ownership of that narrative, not to explain or justify it, but to channel it into something that can resonate with others going through their own silent struggles. Depp's collaboration with Lena Forsyth is crucial in this transformation. Forsyth is not weighed down by Hollywood tradition or studio politics. She represents a fresh wave of filmmakers who believe in the emotional honesty of cinema over spectacle. Her past short films and independent projects have earned her critical acclaim for their haunting visuals and exploration of trauma, identity, and healing. Working with someone like Depp, whose image has been both mythologized and vilified, offered her a chance to create something uniquely personal for both artist and audience. Reports from the set suggest that she was meticulous with details, allowing Depp the space to explore, improvise, and break down barriers between actor and character. She trusted him with emotionally volatile material, and in return, he gave her a performance rooted not in ego, but in surrender. That kind of trust between a director and actor is rare, and it's this artistic symbiosis that may ultimately define Daydrinker as more than just a movie. It's an emotional experience forged in the crucible of mutual vulnerability. Social media continues to buzz with reactions to the teaser images and early reports from those who've seen exclusive previews. Many are lauding Depp's courage. To be seen in such a haggard, fragile state on screen, devoid of glamour or protective layers. Memes have circulated with side-by-side comparisons of Depp's former characters and his current appearance, highlighting just how dramatic the change is. But underneath the surface-level shock lies something deeper, a respect for the emotional risk he's taken. In an era where celebrities are often curated, filtered, and sanitized for public consumption, Depp's decision to embrace a decaying, fractured persona in full view of the world feels almost revolutionary. The reactions are not about vanity or nostalgia, They are about witnessing a man lay himself bare, figuratively and literally, to serve a story that reflects the unvarnished truths so many face in silence. Even the film's promotional strategy has leaned into this ethos of authenticity. Instead of flashy trailers or big-budget marketing campaigns, the rollout for Day Drinker has focused on minimalist teasers, stark character portraits, and candid interviews with the cast and crew. It's a calculated departure from blockbuster spectacle meant to signal to audiences that this film isn't about escapism, it's about confrontation. It invites viewers not just to observe, but to engage, to sit with discomfort, and perhaps to recognize parts of themselves in the shattered figure on screen. Depp's unrecognizable look is not just makeup or costume, it's an extension of the film's core message, that healing starts when we allow ourselves to be seen in our most broken state. Moreover, Depp's willingness to connect with a younger, more emotionally literate generation of filmmakers reflects a larger shift in his career philosophy. No longer chasing box office numbers or iconic roles, he seems to be gravitating toward projects that reflect introspection, emotional complexity, and spiritual weight. It's as if he has stopped performing for the world and started performing for truth, and in this pursuit he's finding a new audience, one that values sincerity over spectacle, vulnerability over bravado. If Day Drinker succeeds, it won't be because of the star power attached to it, but because of the emotional authenticity that radiates from every frame. In the end, Depp's transformation for Day Drinker transcends aesthetics. It's not about being unrecognizable in a physical sense. It's about being unrecognizable in the best possible way artistically. The man who once captivated audiences with flamboyant costumes and quirky mannerisms has now chosen silence, stillness, and soul-bearing honesty. And in doing so, he has reminded both his fans and his critics that real artistry lies not in reinvention for reinvention's sake, but in the bravery to tell the truth, even when it's painful, messy, and far from flattering. As the world awaits the film's full release, what remains clear is that Johnny Depp has once again proven why he remains one of the most compelling figures in modern cinema, not because he always gets it right, but because he never stops searching for what's real.